we have So first we have Dr. Professor Mizzi bin Nazran. He has numerous publications in peer-reviewed journals and different seminar and workshop representation, national and international. He has won dozens of international and national projects. Currently, he is working on research project with University of Haripur and University of Malaysia. We do pray and hope that this project will successfully materialize. Next we have Dr. Simone Delzio, Director Nanotechnology, University of Trieste, Italy. He has different publications, more than 5 projects and 38 research projects. Next we have Dr. Muhammad Mazhar, Pride of Performance, Distinguished National Professor. Although he don't need any kind of introduction, he's from Islamabad. He has done several publications. Next we have our national speaker, Dr. Irshad Hussain. He's Associate Professor, University of Management Sciences. He again has won different publications and worked on several projects. Next we have Dr. Hamidullah, Associate Professor, Hazara University, Mansehra. So here we go with our guest speakers. So now I would like to call our Vice Chancellor, Mr. Abbas Buppi, to come here for the welcome note. Thank you so much.
Dr. Simone Delzio from Italy, Dr. Mazhar, Distinguished National Professor, Dr. Hamidullah, our invited guests from different institutions, faculty and students. Assalamu alaikum. To start with a brief overview of the University of Haripur. This university started as a campus of Hazara University back in 2008, and it used to be an abundant place, an abundant factory of frozen and turpentine with big halls, storage halls, and that's where we started our journey from 250 students and 4 departments. In 2012, it was given the status of an independent university, and it's from there that we started our academic journey. Currently, the university has 2 faculties, Faculty of Basic and Applied Sciences with 13 departments, and Faculty of Social and Administrative Sciences with 5 departments. So there are a total of 18 departments, and we have a strength of almost 3,300 students currently enrolled with University of Haripur. And we have more than 50 academic programs, including bachelor's programs, master's program, MPhil and MS programs, and PhD programs. We started, there was no building, we started with the building, and then we started strengthening our academic programs, trying to focus on the quality. And one of the things that we are focusing on is how we improve our academic quality, and for that we have a dynamic quality enhancement cell here, which tries to implement the policies and regulations of HEC, and HEC in turn monitors the QEC's performance. So QECs indirectly are an indicator of how the university quality is being implemented. And recently we got a W category, an 85% score, an 85 on a scale of 100, and we were awarded a W category, indicating that we are on the right track of improving the quality, academic quality of this institution. We are in an area that's a suburban area where most of the people do not have, are well off economically, So University of Haripur, although we do not have our tuition fees are not very significant, but still we try to offer scholarships to the students, and almost 25% of the students, enrolled students, get some form of scholarship at our university. We try to facilitate them so that lack of financial resources does not deny our youngsters from education. Other than academic programs, one of the characteristics of this university is that we have a regular series of workshops, training programs, seminars going on in this university, and we have conducted hundreds of such training programs which provide exposure to our students other than the curricula that they are being taught. So there are different societies which organize, so the societies get an experience of organizing these events, and our students get a regular exposure to all these activities. Other than this program, we have started a skill development program also. So our students do not just have a degree, but they have the appropriate skills that are needed to get them employed. And one of these programs is with the cooperation of the KP iTech, with the provincial department, that we have started training skills in the field of IT, where we have done several batches, and it's I feel pleasure in saying that the students who got these skills, we have a data that more than 95% of those students got employed. So we have a regular that series where we are trying to provide the skills that are needed for our graduates to get employed. When we are talking about the IT is one of the, almost 1/4 of our enrolled students are in the Department of IT, where we are offering degrees in software engineering and computer sciences, and it's one of the most successful programs here. There was a program by Huawei for establishing their Academy of Network, and almost 137 institutions, higher education institutions in Pakistan applied for that. And University of Haripur was one of 11 universities that was selected throughout the Pakistan for establishment of HANA lab in this university. And we are second, because only there are only 2 universities in KP, one in Topi and other University of Haripur who were selected for the establishment of this HANA lab. That is a big honor for University of Haripur. And we have already started training our IT students here in this academy. Other than the academics, we are trying to build our research programs. Our faculty, other than teaching, they are also they are writing proposals and getting funding. So far we submitted 140 projects, and currently we have 25 projects worth 70 million that are undergoing, that are on. We have started working on this, trying to establish research work and our labs. We are young yet, but still the 25 research projects running in this university so far. Our faculty we encourage our faculty to participate in the international events, international conferences, where they keep on participating in all that event to get that exposure. And currently, last year we had around 200 publications by our faculty and students, and trying to establish that research culture. Other than the research, the things that have come out, we have applied for some of the patents, and there are 4 patents that have been filed from University of Haripur, and they are in process. We have linkages with the rest of the country and international linkages. So far we have 35 MOUs signed with different institutions, both inside the country and outside the country. University of Haripur is one of the few public sector universities in this province that has implemented an ERP system where all of its business components are being automated. We have almost installed that, starting from the admissions up to exam and award of degree, and all that is being now done online through our automated system, the ERP system that has been developed here and that is being implemented. Other than these activities, we are trying to get involved with the community development also. University is trying to build up linkages with the community, and we offer our expertise for the capacity building of the local departments, for the institutions around us, and there are always trainings where we try to build the capacity of all the institutions around us. That's one of the activities that we are performing also. University of Haripur is also trying to build a culture of entrepreneurship here. We have established Business Incubation Center. It has recently been established here with, for now we have a space for 10 people here. But so far we have been having 25 setups, of which 7 have already graduated. And we just started, but it provided jobs to like 150 to 200 people, and with a revenue earned is 2 million. So we are working in that field also, where we can develop a culture of entrepreneurship amongst our students who can, and we provide them with a startup so that they can go out and be a successful entrepreneur. We have also, we are one of the few universities that regarding this entrepreneurship activity, we have an approved policy of business incubation and IP rights, and we are working on that direction also. So overall, other than the academics, we are trying to focus on research, on community participation, on the culture of entrepreneurship. We just took off, and we are on the way, and hopefully will make our deserved space in the educational community very soon. Now coming to this event today, there's no doubt that Nano Science and Technology is one of the most amazing sciences of the current time that have made a tremendous breakthrough. For one reason, that it has applications in almost every field, in agriculture, in biology, in engineering, in medicine, and the way it is expanding. We can expect that the future decades would be dominated by this research, by nanoscience and technology, and especially the most serious challenges that we are facing globally now, including environmental pollution and shortage of energy. These are the two burning issues, global issues that we are facing. And nanoscience and technology has to offer solutions for both of them. It was amazing. I was seeing an article to find out that these nanomaterials can not only stop the pollution from the point sources, but now we have explored, the science has explored the ways that we can mitigate the effect of already present carbon dioxide in the environment. And the atmospheric levels of carbon dioxide that can be already present levels can be reduced. That's an amazing development, and they've already done that, and now they are working on the economically viable ways that how can we implement it economically. And one day we will hear the news that now we are in a position, using this nanomaterials, we are in a position to shrink back the levels of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And that would be a big breakthrough. And so are the applications in case of water pollution, that where we'll be able to isolate to remove all those toxic materials, toxins, dyes, and heavy metals, and even it's amazing to know that there are sieves now, mechanical sieves that can sieve the teeny creature as small as viruses and bacteria. So there's a tremendous potential, and so is the case in case of the power problem the energy problem that we are having. So nanomaterials can help in solar technologies, in batteries, and windmills, and you name. And there's an application for that. It's cheap, it's reliable, and you come up with the characteristics of the material that were never there when you go to the nanoscale. So I hope this conference here will introduce our students, our faculty, to this new amazing science, and that will motivate them to start collaborating with the people who are out there in that field, and they start thinking about their future and having projects in those fields. And we are fortunate to have international speakers and national speakers who are experts in that field. I hope our faculty and students will take this opportunity to develop collaborations with them and get a time to discuss with them, and at the end of this conference we will have better understanding of the subject also, and we'll have people that we can collaborate with for establishment of our future projects, and hope that this conference will be a success in that manner. So again, I thank you very much to all of our invited speakers, both international and national, and all the people who have come all the way from different institutions to come here. I hope your stay here will be comfortable and it will be a productive session. Thank you very much, everybody.
For this first session, our first speaker is Professor Dr. Misni Bene Nusran. He is a professor of chemistry in the School of Chemistry in the University of Malaya, Malaysia. Now he is presenting his talk on nano carriers in drug delivery system, emphasizes on nano-liaison preparation and application. So I welcome Professor Dr. So I welcome Professor Dr. Misre Bene Misre, please sir.
Assalamualaikum. First of all, I'd like to thank the University of Haripur for inviting me to Pakistan. This is my second time in Pakistan. My first time was in Lahore. So, what I like about Pakistan is I love the food, especially lamb kebabs. So first day I was taken to one of the restaurants to have lunch. So very nice. Thank you very much. Anyway, I'm not used to standing here in the roaster. But can I? Okay. Can I just? Yeah, they can still listen to you. Can you hear me at the back? Yeah. If my voice slowing down, please let me know. Okay. Actually, I come not very long way, about 6 hours flight from Pakistan, and I come from Malaya. And if you look at, you cannot hear me. Oh yeah. All right. So okay now. Okay, this is actually my faculty. I have few pictures, but I thought I'd take it out last night and I show you my faculty. I'm from Faculty of Science. This is actually the original building where our university started in 1962. Satellite campus in Kuala Lumpur. So since then they have this like a scale building over here, scale of fish. So this is the whole stretch of building here actually is the original building. And my office way over here. And behind this building also my another office. So I have a couple of offices, 3 offices at the moment. So I have to juggle around between those 3 offices. And the topic that I'm going to talk today, basically the topic that I've been working since my undergraduate in Australia, since 1990. So until today I've been working in this topic as my core topic. At the same time also do other projects such as nanoparticle and things like that. Since I'm actually colloidal chemist, colloidal suspension, so nanomaterial and nanoparticle synthesis, both emulsions or solid phase, actually part and parcel of what we do almost every day. Nevertheless, I thought what interests me initially was when I was actually asked to choose a topic, I actually, during my undergraduate, I think the topic that I was interested out of so many topics that given is on solar energy conversion. Until today, my university also actually, energy is one of the niche area Malaya is focusing. So one of the niche areas Malaya is focusing. And being the deputy deans and research in my faculty, we also have niche area for our faculty members, which is on energy as well. So one of the focus area or the niche area that we are very good at as faculty members. So solar energy at that time working on photosynthetic solar energy conversion, mimicking the photosynthesis, having a reaction center of the photosynthesis in ribosome at that time. So this is when I start falling in love with biology as a system. So since then I pursue for my PhD. I've been working on fundamental science on how ribosome being formed and break down and what factors affecting this bilayer membrane formation, including energetic approach. And since then, since I came back from England in 1999 until today, so from 1990 till today, I've been working on ribosome. So that's how long.
Thank you.
Right. Now, if you ask me where I am every day I have office at the back here, right? Early morning or late afternoon, maybe, or sometime I drop by. My laboratory is somewhere around here. I've got a couple of laboratories, so my student here, so he is also around. Right? From Mazda, I used to be in my laboratory. As well, so I was thinking to learn what he has. He's very good professors, researchers as well. So I always admire him because the work that he's working is top notch. Right? I cannot copy you from that. Thank you very much. Right. So the topic on drug delivery basically has been the center point of my research, my group of research, since 2000 until 1990 even, until when I did my PhD, I should say. And we've been focusing on drug delivery using this bilayer membrane. Even in this room here, I have my student here, actually my PhD student, still waiting for her to submit her thesis. And working on ribosome. So ribosome is actually my core area. At the same time, I do other research to support, to financially support actually the research group that ever growing used to be. Okay, just so that we won't run away from the topic. I'll talk a little bit since I was told we have a general audience here. Right. I won't actually speak in detail, so I will be talking like textbook kind of introduction to the topic, and later on a little bit on what we have done. Right? If you cannot find it, you just Google my name in the net. There's some publication in the net. And we are looking at what we've been thinking on currently on drug delivery, especially on pegylated lipids in chemotherapy drugs, especially even in my country. Patient is still prescribed with a bad drug, just drug without any carrier or protections or slow release mechanism from the drug. So this is where we thought. I mean, I'm not sure about people in Pakistan, but our country, we are not rich country actually. We have grants. I mean, the largest grant I think we received. I personally received around maybe 500,000 US. So it's over $1 million ringgit in Malaysia. But most of the times in the current situation, financially we are not okay, but we are sustainable. And with little grant, we have to work into what should we do as researcher, right? We are just like the guys here. We are at the same level basically. We are academicians, we are researchers at the same time. Some of you have to carry burden as administrator as well, just like myself. And not just for you, but we have to carry the rest of the staff along with us. So with that, we are thinking that we have to find another alternative. What's the best way to have the same property of delivery vehicle for this drug, right? At a cheaper price. So we always look for alternative, and we go through some of it. And in this case, we focus more into chitosan because the property of chitosan itself is very interesting for us. And I'll talk a bit on nanosome preparations. Right? This is, I said just now, and most of it. It's not heavy stuff. Don't worry. It's just layman kind of slide. So then I introduced a little bit what we have done to our liposome. After we prepared and we study on the slow release property, does this liposome that we have prepared actually toxic or can be used, right? Intravenously, right? Intravenously. So we done a little bit, but they only short on it, just but the main content. Actually, if you're not familiar with these liposomes, or sometimes people call it vesicle. So during my PhD, during my undergraduate, I call it liposome. When I did my PhD, I call it vesicle. So because I differentiate between what liposomes are and what vesicles are. So some of us thought that vesicle is more synthetic by the capsule or sacs, but liposome are more actually made up from naturally occurring phospholipids. So we differentiate that just to have correct definition, because each will contribute on toxicity or degradability on our side. So we have to consider that as well. And if you look at the liposome, basically imagine anybody, if you used to playing, unfortunately I think everywhere you go, on television only saw cricket ball, not a tennis ball. So if you imagine you play tennis, you have tennis ball, right? Tennis ball. So inside basically it's just air. Okay. Outside of the tennis ball, you have fluffy with polymers on the outside, polymers. So if you cut this tennis ball into half, what you have, a cross section of this tennis ball, imagine your rubber bit of the tennis ball is the bilayer. So in what we are talking about now, the fluffy bits outside this layer, actually this is sometimes we call it pegylated lipid. So this is the one that we actually synthesize, made it ourselves, right? To make sure that our phospholipid is stable and has maybe mucoadhesive or has is carrying certain property, and maybe give some strict hindrance to strict stabilization to the liposome. So I was talking about the liposome just now. So imagine this. So this is actually the bilayer made up of phospholipids. Okay. Initially, we're working from fatty acid. Because fatty acid, they are cheap source of material. You can mimic the same. You have the same understanding, not quite close to the phospholipid, what we have as your lysosome in the cell, but very much similar. We can understand that and translate that knowledge to the phospholipid story. Because initially we are not very rich. We are working on cheap, easy access, very easy to prepare. Then we're moving on into more expensive, and even we work on protein and enzyme and these are actually very expensive, right? Nevertheless, if you cannot do that, what we did, we start from cheap material, so naturally available. Especially in our country, we have palm oil and we have a lot of fatty acids from distillation of this triglycerides, lipids into fatty acids, right? Now, if you look at the cell itself, right? We are talking about our liposome, right? Our liposome. We have the hairy bit outside. This is what we're going to mimic from now a commercially available liposome. Later on, we'll talk a little bit on this liposome as a drug carrier, and just like the counterpart of the liposome. Remember, you still have bilayer membranes in liposome, and our cell membrane is also made out of bilayer. Remember, our cell membrane, you have this transmembrane protein. We have not only lipid, you have the fatty acid, along with, and even in our group we do actually study on the energetic compatibility between mixtures of phospholipids. So we are looking into binary mixtures of interaction between two lipids. Because as a polymer chemist, I know that none of the material can be mixed. Even very simple, if you are doing polymers, you have PP and PE. PP and PE, they don't mix. If you are working in who's doing this metal alloy, Simon, you are working in mixed two metal, for instance. So two metal, you don't look at alloy, for instance. Two metal, they don't mix because they have problem with interface with two metal. Visually, they are maybe homogeneously mixed as a material, but if you look at closely, they actually don't mix. Right? Similarly, with all this material, lipids, phospholipid, fatty acids, right? Cholesterol, proteins, they are not easily mixed. There's always energy that actually prevents this compound, this lipid from homogeneity. So we do study on it. At the same time, since we are actually looking into interaction between molecules, we look into interaction between this bilayer with the protein, because we can put maybe antibody in the liposome. You can specifically targeting the site that you're interested, so you can have specific targeting. So we look into interaction between proteins and bilayer. At the same time, we also look into drug interaction in the membrane itself, because if you put drugs in the membrane, not necessarily the drug is there. You have to understand what type of drug you put in. So you have to understand what molecule actually you are studying as well, right? Whether it likes water, it likes lipids, it likes oil, it likes partially water and oil, right? Because if you look at this simple cartoon illustration of polylipid, you can have some of the drug actually in the center of the lipid. You can actually have the drug actually positioned in the lipid bilayer itself, right? This is hydrophobic, okay? You may, just like some protein, right? It only stays, along this. So you have integral protein over here. So you have some, drug actually stays in the present in between the head groups of the lipid and the hydrophobic layers. So this is what we are studying in detail. So I'm not going to talk about that. I'm telling you what is the applications from a simple membrane study that we're working on. Right. So now I actually touched a bit on encapsulation. Now, the protections, basically some of the material, if you expose to aqueous, right, some of drugs, or even lipid, you expose lipid to water, after some time it becomes hydrolyzed. So you become like fatty acid, and you have some glycerol, okay, you lose all this. Right? Very simple, you take, now we are working with one of the industry, been sometimes in exporting, selling tocotrienol, for instance. Tocotrienol is like vitamin E. We also have Indian conglomerates incorporation from New York actually would like us to work on cannabidiol. Cannabidiol is extract from cannabis, right? Cannabis. So the drug actually hydrophobic. So we tell them, when we look at the structure of the drug, we know that we can encapsulate 100% of the drug into the liposome. Right? Now, looking at this, even the protein itself, you notice some of the protein is partially, if you look at this transmembrane protein, because this one you can see much clearer. Okay? This part of the protein, basically protein is protein, but you know, why this protein actually sit across and part of the protein actually over here and part actually down there, because those part of the protein amino acid actually exposed to water. They prefer to be in water. Those doesn't like the water actually stays in it. Right? So this is where it interests us. So we're talking about antibody, for instance. So it's just like maybe integral protein, so partially in the membrane, partially outside. So you can use it in targeted drug delivery liposome. Now, just quickly, as I said, I like to talk, right, to make sure that I'm on time. So liposome, you can actually have different type of liposome. You can have very small one, right? You have nano size, less than 100 nanometer, less than 200 nanometer. But if you are talking about intravenous liposome, we are talking about maybe greater than 50 nanometers. And you have large and very large one. Basically, you can form barriers that fit the size of your container. Right? You can form barrier the size of it. That's how. You can control it to as small as possible. But just like our cell, you cannot control it. Right? It grows, isn't it? It grows. Right, over time. However, if you want to use it for technological purposes, like as a drug delivery, you have to make sure that the size of the liposome you prepare, you synthesize, you design. So I call it design. Right? I don't call it you synthesize. People say, why you say design? Because you have to make sure, right? If you are designing a house, what kind of house you like to have? You want to have veranda maybe, you have to have big yard maybe, you have a hall, you have a kitchen, and each functions on its own. That's why I said we design. Right? We design. Even how much composition to put in, we have to make it precisely, energetically, actually suitable for these two molecules to be mixed at that composition. You don't have to repeat it, no. Right? If you don't know, you just use differently, you just make different concentration. But we can do through energetic approach such that we can pinpoint how much more ratio we have to add in. One pinpoint by through energetic, right? Binary mixing kind of approach. So we can do that, right? And oligomers, this is when you have the liposome inside the liposome. Liposome inside the liposome, right? This is very important because recently I just got the call. One of our we call it LRGS, which is where to apply this grant in collaboration with industry. So we are using Retromed 1 proteins. Retromed 1 protein. This is for internal, for vaginal applications, right? There are many applications. Now we can actually put the liposome inside the liposome so that we have just one bilayer, one membrane, right? It may be destroyed, Alright, and whatever load inside will be released. But if you have many membranes, many barrier membranes, you have liposome inside liposome, so one definitely virtually will be destroyed because inside the pH, right, you can change whether you can get pregnant or not pregnant by changing the pH. Now, you're asking about degradation of the cathosan inside the cell. So, so far, cathosan has been known is biodegradable. It's compatible. It's been checked that it's compatible. It's shown in toxicity just now. It's actually non-toxic so far, even after we modify. So cathosan is known to be biocompatible and biodegradable. That's known. What we worried was after we modify. So you see, the longer the polymer, any polymer is very long, it's difficult because the property itself, it actually more dense, right? If you make it shorter, it open up, it swell, right? It swell. So shorter one, longer one is very difficult to degrade. Shorter one even easier to degrade. And we know cathosan is degradable, right? So we only worried about after we modify, you put acylated cathosan, acyl in the amino or hydroxyl, right? Whether it degrades or not. So by looking at, it does not actually kill the cell, right? It is biocompatible. When we talk about degradation, we have not done the actual degradation on the modified cathosan. We have not done that. But we know so far, up to now, that cathosan is biodegradable and biocompatible. Right? How being mechanism? I'm sorry, I cannot answer that. I don't know how it actually being degraded inside our body. And maybe someone else have to look into it.
How cancer drug?
Cancer drug? Yeah, it's carry the drugs. So remember, we can put antibody, right? Okay, we can put antibody because let's take example breast cancer cell. So you have overexpression of HER2, which is like antigen. So this liposome can actually present in the body up to 15 days in the circulation. Right? It's not easily actually destroyed because it's been stabilized. Up to 15 days. Study have shown that up to 15 days it can actually stay in the body. Now, since the liposome carry antibody, right? Remember, any drug that we take, let's say we take this Panadol, it's very famous now everywhere, you got Panadol. One Panadol doesn't mean that the drug paracetamol goes to the problem area that you are suffering, right? Maybe a small fraction that reach, but the rest go everywhere. But when you load, you have a carrier that can travel across your body just like any other nutrients. Okay, it stops where you have overexpression of particular cancer cell. So it stops where it is. So you have overexpression or like it's blocked over there. So when it stays there, it slowly releases. So I think I have some data showing the slow release mechanism. So we fit into Iguchi and different model to actually see how the way being released. Because this one actually, remember, it's not just simple lipid layer. It has coat around it with cathosan that besides give protection, stealth property that evade detection by the white blood cell, it also actually provides slow release mechanism. So one is actually locked into these overexpressions of maybe take a breast cancer HER2, right? It will release in that area over time. Okay, so this mechanism actually eliminate toxicity. Just like us, if you eat too much, what happens? You just go lie down. I'm dying. If you eat too much. But if you have slow release, anything slow, even poison, very minute, but not the growth and protein. Even poison, very small amount, doesn't kill you at the time. But if you take a certain amount, of course there's a toxicity, LD50. Certain over toxicity, you die. So most drugs, they are very toxic. They are very good cancer drugs, not being used because it has to be used carefully due to toxicity. Right? If we have this technology, you can actually minimize or reduce or eliminate the toxicity of the drug itself because you have slow release mechanism. Few 1 or 2 molecules at a time. At the same time, so it doesn't actually give a side effect. Hopefully, that's why in state in Europe they use this doxil. More expensive because they can afford to buy. It doesn't give side effect to the patient. They prefer the doxil, right? Because it doesn't give a side effect. Else, you have hair falling, vomiting, nausea, and other side effects. And if you are lucky, you survive. If you are not, you actually die because of the toxicity of the drug. Yeah.
Any other questions?
You can talk to me later. Yeah.
I have just one innocent.
In the network of, because gel is actually a network of polymer. Gel is a network polymer. That's why we have network of polymer. Gel means it's a network of polymer. So we have liposome. You have this steric stabilization, stabilized by your modified cathosan just now, and is in a gel form. This one can stable 2-3 months, no problem. Even no problem, very stable. The doxil that is being produced, normally it is produced fresh because it lasted for about a month. So every time you need to produce, right? And with that, well, I would like to end my talk. I mean, yeah, it's about time. Yeah, it's about time. It's about time. Well, this is an old picture, so yeah, Tawab still there. From Mazda, Tawab. This is when Tawab joined me last time. So Tawab, this is from Rubber Institute, my former student. They are most of them are former students. So someone is over here still there. Okay, and some other students. Well, of course, we have around I think 15 students now in our level 3. So 4 my PhD graduated this year, 1 master, and we have what 12 to 15 students. I can't remember how many. Okay, a lot of my former students that now a lecturer, they still under my armpit a little bit. All right, thank you.
For 1 hour, but now I have been told to reduce it to half an hour. So I have to finish it within half an hour. So I have to skip many slides that may create discontinuity in the lecture. Let me thank you all for your coming here and giving me a chance to speak to you. I see quite nice glittering faces that indicates future of Pakistan, and I hope you will work most dedicatedly to get out of this crisis. So let's begin with the talk. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So I will be talking on environmental problem and sustainability. And environment is everything that affects living organism. It is an interdisciplinary study that involves physical sciences and social sciences to learn about how the earth works, how we interact with earth, and how to deal with environmental problems. Sustainability refers to meet the basic needs of people indefinitely without compromising same needs of future generations. One of the major problems the world is facing is energy. When we produce energy, we pollute the environments and thus affect life on earth through climate change, unusual change in temperature, exhaustion of water resources, rise in pH of seawater, acid rains, and many more. For sustainable energy source and environmental security, we need to think in terms of photovoltaic devices and hydrogen only. So these are the two main sources of clean energy which might be for clean environment and sustainability. Next slide, please. So, available sources of energy, there are non-renewable and renewable sources. These are fossil fuels and minerals, wind, water, fertile soil, plants and animals, and perpetual sources of energy. Perpetual means never ending. So there are two: wind, tides, flowing water, and geothermal. And winds, tides, and flowing water are weather dependent. So then we produce energy from them. We don't have any good device to store energy. So if there is a wind, we can run the windmill. Otherwise, we are not getting energy. The main source of energy is the solar energy, and the solar energy can be utilized in several ways. But the two important are photovoltaic solar panels and photolysis of water using sunlight. Photolysis means to decompose water in the presence of a catalyst by throwing sunlight on it, and water splits into hydrogen and oxygen. So my main research area is photolysis of water using sunlight. Next slide, please. So this is a composition of sunlight. From 350 nanometer to 800 nanometer, we must use, this is the major portion of the visible light. We must use this region to split water. Next slide, please. So we need to see what the nature is doing, how plant is synthesizing sugars. So very simple reaction that takes place in plant leaf is carbon dioxide, water, and necessary catalyst here, and it is changed into glucose and oxygen. It's not as simple as written here. This reaction takes place in two steps. In first step, water is decomposed to oxygen and hydrogen ion. Then hydrogen ion from the plant cell moves to another cell which absorbs carbon dioxide, where CHO bond is found, basic unit of sugar is found. Later on, this basic unit forms different components of the plant. That may be fruit, flowers, and other parts of it. Next slide, please. So, in plant, recently, about 3-4 years before, a compound has been isolated which acts as a catalyst in plants. It is named as photosystem 2. It consists of 1 calcium atom and 4 magnesium atoms. And magnesium atoms they have different valency. Valence state is different. So one has 3, the other has 4, 3, and 4. So many scientists tried to prepare this catalyst, and one Chinese group made it, but it was not very useful because the environments were entirely different than being used by the plant. We also tried to make it, but we made calcium manganese complex, but it was not very active because the environments were entirely different. Furthermore, we cannot induce manganese 3 and 4 in the system. Next slide, please. Most of the work is on perovskite structured material. Perovskite structures material are those which have AbO3 structure. It is named after calcium titanate, which was discovered in Russia by Perovsky, and it was named after Perovsky as perovskite structure. Any compound that has AmO3 formula can be regarded as perovskite. So A can be magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium, lead, and M can be a tetravalent metal. Next slide, please. So this is the structure of perovskite. Octahedron where P atom is surrounded by 6 oxygen atoms or X atoms, and they share corners. As a result of sharing of corners, a void is left here where atom A is occupied. So this is a perovskite structure, and this is inorganic perovskite, which is very famous at the moment. But inorganic hybrid structures, perovskite structures, are not very stable. They can't stand harsh weather conditions. Next slide, please. So, material requirement for renewable hydrogen production. I won't go into details of current method of hydrogen production from fuel cell because of shortage of time. For photolysis of water, we need cost-effective material, stability to photocourion, semiconducting material with narrow band gap and appropriate band positions, able to support rapid charge transfer at a semi-electrolyte interface, stable towards depletion from electrolyte interaction, least electronic recombination, absorption coefficient must be large, hole to field length should be small, and space charge layer should be relatively large. Mixed metal oxides fulfill above this criteria, but metal sulfides and nitrides are unstable. We worked on metal sulfide and few nitrides. We found them quite unstable. So we switched down to metal oxides because metal oxide seems to be better stable under reaction conditions. Keeping all these requirements in mind, we synthesize various types of nanomaterials and test them for their potential in photoelectrochemical water splitting. Next slide, please. So how to make metal oxide materials? There are several different ways. One is solid state synthesis, and the here. And other is solution-based synthesis. Solid state synthesis has many disadvantages. It needs high temperature, prolonged sintering, impure phases, non-aqueous products, and low performance material. This is the disadvantages of solid state synthesis. Very simple example. If you mix sodium chloride with silver nitrate in solid state, you keep on grinding them, make a homogeneous mixture, but reaction is never 100%. Some of the material, unreacted material, sodium chloride and silver nitrate will remain unreacted. On the other hand, if you take a solution of sodium chloride and add a drop of silver nitrate in it, you will find 100% reaction will take place within seconds. So that's we concentrated our diversion. We choose solution-based synthesis. Solution-based synthesis are hydrothermal, aqueous medium, high pressure, and autoclave is needed. Then solvothermal using non-aqueous, high pressure, and autoclave. Then another method is sol gel, where we make sol by using some gelling material like polyethylene glycol or glycerol or some other. We grind it to make a homogeneous mixture, then burn it, sinterate at high temperature. And single molecular precursor is a process of my special interest. Next slide, please. So, we made several perovskite structures, these starred materials, and tested them for photocatalytic water splitting to hydrogen and oxygen. And bimetallic halide, we made.
तुझे किताब से मुकम्मल नहीं फराग के तू किताब ख़ुद है मगर साहिब किताब नहीं So the reason मैंने ये शेयर करा because जो हमारे next speaker हैं उनकी speciality ये है, he is an author as well. So guys, with your huge round of applause, love and respect, our very own Dr. Muhammad Mazhar from Nashik University.
Of this precursor. Or, for example, this is an activity that I did during my PhD, is to use the nanoprinting in a field of printed electronics by using a polymer that is semiconductor polymer. You can obtain, simply by using nanoprinting, the nanostructuring of this polymer to improve the electronic properties of this material. For example, this is the example of the patterning of pillow, that is this polymer that is used for organic solar cells or organic electronics. We use for polymeric solar cells, but you can imprint or replicate the structure also using small molecules or other semiconducting polymer. The advantages of nanoprinting is that you can obtain 3D structures that is it's not easy to achieve with other technology. For example, this is the work that we did for European Space Agency, where they have to produce a kind of dry adhesive that we employ by in the space for the when the people actually from the shuttle to walk on the shuttle outside, and we produce this nanometric structuring of a polymer, and we obtain really good results on the adhesive property of these drugs. Again, this is we produce the mold by having these microstructures with UV lithography. Then we produce this nanostructure by EBL, and then replicate by nanoprinting. This is just to show that when you are considering to when you are fabricating a sample, you must combine many different techniques. You are not just using a single technique, but generally it's better to, or is necessary to combine many techniques to achieve the final result. And you must know how to combine. So this is just for patterning, but I will show you that after the patterning, there are many steps that are to transfer the pattern that you are producing on your substrate, because generally when you have the resin that is patterned, it's not the end of the process, because you don't want to have the resin that is patterned, but you want to have the sample that has the pattern that you need. And you must combine not just the patterning, but also the post-processing, such as the etching, wet etching, dry etching, or the deposition of particular materials. But you must think also, in this case, what is that you needed to obtain the final sample. Simply, just to describe what we are doing, wet etching. Etching is when you are removing selectively the material on the exposed region of your sample by reproducing the pattern that you have on your resin on the substrate. So we can distinguish in wet etching when you are doing the process in a solution. In particular, we can distinguish between isotropic and anisotropic etching, and dry etching when we are exploiting the use of plasma to selectively remove the the exposed part of your sample to replicate the structure here. Or when you are techniques of adding techniques, such as deposition of particular materials that can be exploited for etching, or you do the etching and then deposition. So you can combine in infinite way the techniques that are available in order to obtain the sample. This is an example of dry etching. This is the deep reactive ion etching. The system is pretty simple. You have the substrate, generally that is silicon, derived from the industry, and you have the suitable mask, metallic mask, generally. By using suitable gas for the substrate that you are using, you can selectively remove the silicon on the exposed area. Then you passivate the structure that you need. Then you etch again, and you are replicating this cycle many times, obtaining these deep structures here. These are some examples of structures that we produced with this technology of deep reactive ion etching. What is the use of these structures? So we use this high resolution pillar to make biological sensors. This is just a selection of the publication that we did for the fast detection of biomolecules in liquids. Simply, we use these pillars to have a super hydrophobic surface. So that I must explain what is a super hydrophobic surface. So when you have a really high resolution structure here and you are functionalizing the surface of this structure, the liquids, particularly the water, can wet inside this structure, but is somehow suspended at top of these small pillars, and you are creating kind of water spacing in between the liquid and the substance. By moving this or oscillating these pillars, you can appreciate what is deposited on top of these pillars by measuring simply the resonation frequency, the frequency of resonation, more or less, from the classical UV lithography. So we can distinguish from photolithography, this again UV lithography. Now we are moving on extreme UV, that is the technology that is used for the modern electronic industry. Or, for example, with X-rays, that is needed to reduce the length of the light, the wavelength of the light. I can reduce, obviously, the diffraction limit. This is why we are moving down and down up to X-rays. Obviously, if for UV lithography, a quite simple instrument is needed. This is simply the mask aligner. So, I don't know. Okay. A simple mask aligner where you are positioning the mask here, the sample here, and you are exposing through these optics your sample. But the source of the light is a simple lamp, a mercury vapor lamp. And but if you want to move with much lower wavelength, you have larger and larger tools that you need. For X-ray, obviously, you need a really large tool, that is a synchrotron, that can provide the X-rays that is needed for the lithography. And it's not the size, just the size, the core, the problem of this, but it's obviously the cost of this. While an instrument like this, we are talking about hundreds of kilo euros, dollars, while here it's million, and this is more than 10 million, sorry. So this is the first thing that we must think when you are thinking about lithography. What is needed? Because to reduce the size of the pattern that you need, you must think that you need more time and you have higher cost for your sample. So I will speak about some of this other technology, but so in the case, so we have technology based on the use of the focus beam, like or use electrons, ions, or particles. Then interference lithography, that is similar to photolithography. Scanning probe lithography, that deriving from other technologies such as EFN, STM. Nano-printing, soft lithography, shadowing mask, and so on. So, in this graph, I show you how is the relationship between the resolution that you can achieve with